Can you dream of a world immune to cancer? Hello everyone, my name is Nick and I'm the host of the annual live stream for The Cure, where content creators and podcasters from around the world join me to raise money for the Cancer Research Institute and immunotherapy research, which is training the body's immune system to fight against all forms of cancer. Over the past 7 years, thanks to the power of indie podcasters and the indie podcasting community and listeners just like you listening to this right now, we have raised over $90,000. And as I record this now, the 8th annual live stream for The Cure is barreling down upon us really quickly in just about 2 weeks. So join us please from May 29th through June 1st for 48 hours of amazing content from people all over the world and help us fight for a world immune to cancer. I'll now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Thank you so much. And together, we can make a difference.
Hi, my name is John.
And my name is Lloyd.
And we're the hosts of The Pint,
a pop culture podcast.
Lloyd, if you had to tell any of the people out there that might be listening to The Pint for the first time about anything unsavory or disconcerting we might do on the show, what would you warn them about?
Well, sometimes we drop spoilers, and sometimes we swear like motherfucking sailors.
Fuck yeah, we do. You heard it from him. You've been warned.
Listen in.
We don't see anything, Val. Now what the hell are you talking about? Over.
Bert! They're under the ground! They're under the ground! They can dig like a son of a bitch! Big monster! Underground! Now get out! Hurry!
Welcome to a brand new episode of The Pint, a pop culture podcast. My name is John.
My name is Grab Lloyd.
And I'm a Hot Coffee Lawsuit.
And we're here today to talk about a film from 1990. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the underground worm menace of Tremors.
Let's rock!
I got my Swiss cheese. I got my bullets. Let's go.
Let's go. Manster, I see before we start talking about Tremors, you're wearing the newest Robber Baron's Inc. Shirt of The Pint.
Merch.
It's so soft, and let me tell you, having you right here on, on my right chest feels good.
It does. It looks good.
It looks really good.
We got those from Sal at Free Comic Book Day a couple days ago over at BoomTube. Very successful day, very successful weekend. If you are familiar with them, it was their 6th-year anniversary on Sunday, which is awesome. And then to make it even more awesome, our good friend Tom Ryan, who is a local comic and pop culture artist, he did a variant cover, which is Big League, of the new DC Space Ghost series for issue number 1. And the variant cover he did is a store exclusive BoomTube comics cover. So on the back side, it's got the BoomTube logo. And so we hung out on Saturday and did Free Comic Book Day. Sal from Robber Barons came down, gave me the shirts, gave them out to a bunch of folks. And then Sunday I went out to do other stuff, but I swung by there, picked up my Space Ghost book, got it signed by Tom. It was great to see him. The success is incredible. BoomTube, 6 years running. Just an awesome weekend. So just wanted to shout that out. And if we saw you there, I don't want to start throwing names. I'm always afraid to throw names up because you're going to not say someone and you're going to feel bad about it. But we saw a lot of good friends there. We had a good time. We did trivia. We did a bunch of fun stuff. So that
very
was really
difficult
great.
trivia.
It was. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, man, it was hard stuff.
2 books, Obsessed with Marvel and Obsessed with Star Wars. You can find them on Amazon. That's where I bought them. They're about $16 a piece. And if you want to really...
So if I wanted to bone up for next year, that's my source.
Yeah, that's your go-to.
Go for it. Go for it, Eric. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to bone up.
If I wanted a form-fitted Lloyd and John on my chest, are those shirts available for the general public yet? Or
you'll be getting yours. What size are you?
Not just for me. I mean, in general, I'm trying to, push the chair.
Absolutely. I give shirts out. We don't.
I mean,
we don't,
selfishly, I'm an XL, but yeah, just in general, if it was going to be available, like on a TeePublic or whatever.
No, these are going to be give outs. I'm going to try to get them to as many insiders as I can. Terrible at keeping track. So I know a lot of you have gotten shirts. If you're an insider, I know some of you maybe got missed over. If you ever get missed over for a shirt, please just message me. It's never personal. It's not like I fucking hate that guy. It's literally I think I'm a really organized person. And then there's some things that I don't have organizational capabilities for. And even though I recognize that, I almost strangely refuse to change my patterns. I think I need to see a psychiatrist about this because I'll be doing it and going, boy, this isn't operating right. And I'm like, but you know what? This is how I'm going to do it. I don't get it. So an XL for Eric. And yes, if you want one of these shirts, if you know the logo, it's the logo that Lloyd created. That is just Lloyd and my face in silhouette. And that's it. There's no words on it because at this point, I think for a lot of people around here, that's all they need to see to know, right?
Yeah, I think yours looks pretty awesome. I think mine has a bit more hair than I actually have.
Well, you made that a couple years ago, so you also have a beard. You also have a beard. You've rarely had a beard in real life.
I had a beard for a while, but it was while I was doing that art.
Yeah. So right at that point, you picked your bearded version.
Yeah. Now I'm clean shaven.
Yeah, and looking good as fuck too. But let's not get too gay right this early, right?
He's into the gay.
Yeah, we're gonna ease into that.
Well, he's on down the gay. All right, Master, tell us all about Tremors.
All right, yeah, Tremors, 1990, January 19th, 1990. It was released, directed by Ron Underwood. He's a film and TV director. This was his first film. He had just done like some children's TV before that. It's kind of a springboard for him. He went on and did, among others, City Slickers, Hearts and Souls, Mighty Joe Young, The Adventures of Pluto Nash.
Marvin Nash.
I love that.
Yeah.
Screenplay by Brent Maddock and Stephen S. Wilson. These guys were collaborators. So Brent Maddock was also, screenwriter, producer, director. Stephen S. Wilson, I guess mostly just writer, science fiction screenwriter. They had several projects together. They did things like Short Circuit, Batteries Not Included. So that led them into sort of getting this Tremors deal, Wild Wild West, some other stuff. Based on a story, basically it was written by all three of them, Maddock, Wilson, and Underwood. But Steve Wilson, he was working as an editor in a Navy base in the Mojave Desert.
Oh, say that again.
Mojave Desert.
I like that.
Did you get that? Mojave. So basically, he was just in the desert. He was climbing on, he's on some large boulders, and he just had this random idea, like, what if I was stuck on this rock because there was like creatures under the ground trying to get me? So that was the birth of Tremors right there.
Did you read what one of the original script titles was, which I wish they had gone with?
So here's the problem. I was writing a little bit of notes today at my lunch break at work. I forgot to upload it. So I had all that written down, but the original story was called Land Sharks.
That's awesome. It should have been called Land Sharks. Yeah. That's so fucking cool.
But they couldn't do it because of SNL, right?
Yeah, SNL had Land Shark skit, so they couldn't do it.
Right.
They also had a couple other. One was called Under Perfection. The name of the town is called Perfection. And that was just too bizarre, like film.
It sounds like an awesome porn.
Yeah. There was a couple others, but like you said, I forgot to upload it. This launched a whole franchise.
I was going to say real quick, Lloyd. I was going to say real quick, Lloyd, you forgot to upload it, and I'm tempted to fire you because of that, but your fucking face is on the shirt.
There's a whole half hour of like tidying up my notes and adding all this extra stuff, and it's all gone. So this launched the franchise, and they were all, I guess, direct to video and then little TV. So you got Tremors 2 Aftershocks, 1996. Tremors 3 Back to Perfection, 2001. Tremors 4 The Legend Begins, which is a prequel. Tremors 5 Bloodlines. Tremors, A Cold Day in Hell.
I saw that one. It was terrible. It's like in Antarctica. It's awful.
And then this one I saw, I actually watched the like trailers for each one of these. They're all the trailers were available online. So, and they all look like garbage. Tremors, Shrieker Island.
Yeah.
I don't know. These things are flying. They're like got big legs. They're walking around. They look like dinosaurs. I don't get it. Then there was a television series called Tremors, the series that ran in 2003. And a second television series was set to air in 2018, which actually had Kevin Bacon returning, but nobody picked it up because it sucked. And the one constant through all this, I think we all know,
Michael Gross.
Yeah, Michael.
He's like the Reggie Bannister of the Tremors.
Yeah. So I did see A Cold Day in Hell during the pandemic because it was on Netflix, and I was like, whatever. It was terrible. Back in the day, I did see Tremors 2 when it came out, like in my early 20s, rented it. Fred Ward was in that one. Right. And the conceit of that one was like the worms had turned into like raptors almost, like they were little like bi-legged things.
Yeah, I saw some with a little creature flying across.
Yeah. It from what I remember, it was probably better than 90% of what comes afterwards, but it still wasn't very good.
All right. So filming took place. I couldn't find the dates, but it was, I guess it ended in May of 1989. It was 50 days of filming. So principal photography took place in Lone Pine, California. Actually, just south of Lone Pine was where the town was built. So that whole town you see of Perfection was just the set, everything on there. That was in Olanka, California. Yeah, a place I never heard of. Hundreds of films have been shot in this Lone Pine, California. I guess think of anything with a desert, and it was probably filmed there. Star Trek V, Gladiator, Dinosaur, Iron Man, Man of Steel, that and hundreds of others. And one other thing, the mountains you can see in the background are the Sierra Nevada.
Yeah.
And the lake that you see is Big Owens Lake.
Yeah, I actually have the same notes when I wrote some production stuff too, and I wrote Sierra Nevada's in the background, which is pretty cool.
And I went online to on like Google Maps to check it out just to get this sort of impression. And it's a big triangle. So Lone Pine, it's sort of western central California, and it's this big area. And then you just got a triangle. There's another city. So there's a little mining town that kind of inspired Perfection that was nearby as well.
Does that one have a bigger population than Eric? What was the population?
I don't
Eric?
think so.
Was it 14?
14, yeah.
Yeah.
14, yeah, well, maybe. Yeah, this was a little mining town called Darwin, California. And then let's get into the props a little bit. The creature design was done by Amalgamated Dynamics. Can't say that very fast.
It's a tough one.
Yeah. And Alec Gillis and Tom Woodruff were kind of like the major special effects guys. The graboids, if you don't know, so there's these worms. Of course, these giant worms underground. They're called graboids. And there were several of them. There was a big full scale one that was cast in like lightweight foam, placed in a trench, buried, made all dirty and stuff, and then dug up to get that used, kind of like tunnely looking effect. I guess that even though it's lightweight foam, the guys working in that they were like burdened with this thing because that was heavy.
Oh yeah, it's giant.
Yeah, it's giant. And then they have all these smaller scale models too. So I was watching some of the like creation scenes, and like they're just on the ends of guys' hands.
Yeah,
and they're little graboids and like sticking through the wall. It's pretty cool to see them all do it. So everything was controlled by puppeteers.
Gillis and Woodruff are awesome. Those guys, they were Stan Winston students. They worked on Aliens. They did Alien 3. They've done a million things. They're really talented dudes.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible how they went back and forth between the miniature and the full scale, like in a single scene or whatever. It's pretty seamless, especially for the time. I thought they did a really good job.
Really good. This was like no CGI in this movie at all.
Yeah, no, in 1990, yeah.
One other thing they said about the design of the graboids, at one point they got this idea from like a snapping turtle where it can pull its head back, into its skin. And so they designed a graboid similar to that, where, you'd see this thing come out and then all of a sudden the head would come out. And I guess producer, Gail Ann Hurd, she's like, no way we're making a movie about giant dicks chasing people around the desert.
Giant uncircumcised cocks.
Yeah.
Graboids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what it looked like, I guess. So it's a good call to change that.
I guess they came up with the conceit for the smaller, like mouth worms, just because it was easier to deal with as, did these smaller kind of monsters for the majority of the movie rather than the full scale.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Very smart. Yeah.
And then I'll just make one more note here. So it was delayed quite a bit in production because, like, the first day of filming, it was snowing in the desert. So that scene where you meet the lady, the seismograph lady, it was snowing that day and she was freezing cold. But anyway, it put it behind. And then when they finally finished, the MPAA gave it an R rating. And executives were like, no, we can't do a hard R. We got to make money on this thing. We got to lower it to PG-13. So they softened it by either eliminating or redubbing 20 uses of the word fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I can't remember, but like there's one where he's like mother huckster or something.
Yeah. So when he calls him a mother humper.
Yeah.
He's like, we killed that mother humper. And, can you fly, sucker? All those kind of things. Those were all. So if you thought you were seeing a TV version, nope, that's the actual version.
Which I started incorporating into my repertoire. The mother humper.
Mother humper.
In traffic, 95's been closed the last week or whatever. So yeah, mother humper this, that.
Mother humper. What I did like about them changing the F-bombs is they didn't change the real important one after they lead the first worm into that aqueduct, and Kevin Bacon's like, fuck you, like that couldn't have gone. That was perfect.
Yeah, you're allowed one F, right?
Yeah, one or two, something like that.
So that's it for the production. Who is in this thing?
Round up the usual suspects.
All right, Kevin Bacon, who, by the way, I was thinking about Kevin Bacon today and not while I was masturbating as usual. Kevin Bacon, like, can you think of an actor that's worked in the last 20, 30 years? Guy's been around 40 years. But can you think of anybody that has been a leading man and a character actor as much as Kevin Bacon has? He could be the lead and he could be the third guy. Like, and he's done it well for 40 fucking years.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he has a unique
you're totally
career.
Right.
Yeah, kind of a unique career. He plays Valentine McKee. You know him from Apollo 13, Quicksilver, A Few Good Men. Fred Ward, who passed away a couple years ago, plays Earl Bassett. Val and Earl are local handymen in a town of 14. I don't know why the fuck you would need local handymen in that town. You would need maybe one handy guy. He was in Road Trip, Southern Comfort, and Uncommon Valor. Finn Carter plays Rhonda LeBeck. She is a seismologist from the college that's checking things out. Not much in terms of movie or TV. She kind of stopped early. How I Got into College, Ghosts of Mississippi, and from what I was reading a couple years ago, she got into some kind of legal trouble for some kind of wiretapping or fraud. So
I read that too.
Yeah.
So not IMDb, but police blotter for credit card fraud and crazy stuff. Yeah.
So if you want to learn more about her, go to your local judicial website. Michael Gross plays Burt Gummer. He is a prepper. He's a insane doomsday prepper. Not insane. He's one of these guys that owns every machine gun, every gun. He's prepared for everything. Movie wise, you might know him as the dad who is opposed to his daughter dating Vanilla Ice and Cool as Ice. Atlas Shrugged Part 2. But of course, you know him best as the dad from Family Ties. And I read that this movie started filming the day after Family Ties wrapped. The last scene of Family Ties ends, they wrap, and he goes to film fucking Tremors, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so he goes from liberal dad to totally right-wing prepper.
What do we do, baby? Without
guns.
Without guns. Reba McEntire plays his wife, Heather Gummer. She made herself very clear that she wanted to be in this movie, and the director thought, no way, I'm not going to put in a stunt casting. And then when she did her audition, she nailed it. You might know her best as obviously a multi-Grammy award-winning country artist. She had her own television show on the CW from like 2001 to 2007. Interesting fucking fact about Reba McEntire is in 1991, a year after this movie, 8 members of her touring band were killed in a fucking plane crash.
Oh,
wow. Her and her then husband took a different plane, like either a day earlier or a day later. And like a week later, she performed in their honor at like the 91 Grammys, and a bunch of other country artists gave her members from their bands to be her band, because at that point she hadn't put a new band together. Yeah, I'd never heard of that, but the tragedy doesn't stop there. Let's talk about Victor Wong, because I didn't know this, and this is fucking nuts. Victor Wong plays Walter Chang, who is like the grocery store owner. First thing, they hire Victor Wong, and in the original script, the grocery store had a Vietnamese name, and he just asked, since I'm Chinese, can you change it to a Chinese name? And they did. They accommodated him. So he wanted it to be Chinese appropriate.
Yeah.
You probably know him best from Big Trouble in Little China, Prince of Darkness, big John Carpenter guy, and Three Ninjas. This is the saddest fucking thing I've read in a long time. So Victor Wong dies on September 12th of 2001. September 11th, 2001, we all know what happened. His son worked in Lower Manhattan. His wife and him spent all day long watching TV and waiting for news as to whether his son survived or not. His wife decided that at night to go to bed because she was just so mentally fucking drained, and woke up the next day and he had a fucking massive heart attack and had died.
Oh, my God.
That, I mean, I'm not telling you that for humor's sake. I'm not doing one of our usual things. That's fucking sad. And I never knew that. Like he literally probably had a bad heart, and the worry over his son, killed him, and his son survived.
I was just going to ask.
Yeah.
That.
Okay.
Good.
His son survived. Good news. But yeah, that's fucking sad. So 2 more and we'll finish it out. So the first episode that Eric ever joined us for was Jurassic Park, and he keeps attracting Ariana Richards onto the pint. She plays Mindy Sterngood. She was the little girl in Jurassic Park. She was in Angus. She was in Space Invaders. She's a little girl on a pogo stick in this movie. That's pretty much her gig.
Oh, right.
And then finally playing Melvin, the town asshole. If you see Bobby Jacoby, you immediately recognize him from being from the 1980s. Iron Eagle, Can't Hardly Wait, Night of the Demons 2.
Before we go on, let me ask you something. You said you saw Tremors 2?
Like in 1996, probably, yes.
What happened to the Reba McEntire character?
I do remember this crazily. She divorced him because I remember she left him for someone else, and he's like, I don't even know why I remember this because I only saw it once 20 years ago, but he's just super angry, like, at the world throughout the movie.
Okay.
I'm sure they couldn't get her back. They couldn't get Kevin Bacon back. They could get Fred Ward was the biggest they can get back, and Michael Gross was like, fuck it, I'll do it.
They should have killed her off, because that doesn't fit the character to me.
Yeah, well, sometimes it works when still in real life, Lloyd, love doesn't always work out, and sometimes Reba McEntire's leave Michael Gross.
A lot of folks have the bond that you two have, so you just
yeah,
right,
yeah.
Yeah, they keep their options open with her too, right? I mean, on the 1% chance she comes back for another,
Exactly. She might have come back for that 2018 TV show. They were able to get Kevin Bacon back, right? Yeah. And I think if anything ever happens to us, Lloyd, I'll just write you off. What we'll do in your case is we'll never mention you again, like you never existed. That's what I'll do.
Yeah, that's the best.
That's the best. That'll be the best. It won't be like, oh, Lloyd left. It'll just be like one of those things where it's like, we just never talk about you again. It's like the Brady Bunch's dog after the first episode. Just disappeared.
Let's talk about her for a minute. I really liked her character. She was like the yin to his yang.
Oh, she was good. She was good,
She was really good.
You just got to be able to stand how she talks, She's just got kind of like that real weird Southern thing going on. Like she's got a fucking barrel in her mouth or something. I can't tell. I can't tell what the fuck's happening. So Eric, give us the rundown. We meet Val and we meet Earl. What's their deal? What's the town's deal? What's going on, like, kind of in perfection before the shit starts to roll?
You know, I go through all the 14 deals of each.
No.
Go through the hammering deal.
Oh, the hammering. Yeah, 12 times the charm with the hammer sequence or whatever. Yeah, there's a funny bit where Val is hammering a top of a fence and he keeps missing the nail or whatever. The Fred Ward's reaction to him is just like, it's just funny. Fred Ward's awesome in this movie, and just the way he reacts and that their banter and all that stuff. The buddy kind of thing really works in this movie. But yeah, so like John was saying, they're handymen. It kind of the movie starts out where they're kind of out in the desert and at their truck, and you see them kind of doing the fence thing kind of deal. And then they jump in the truck and they start, I think, heading back to town. And that's where they did that kind of swerve off the road to meet the young lady. What's the
Rhonda.
Yeah, Rhonda.
Yeah, I keep forgetting too.
They make it very clear that Val has a type. What's his type, Eric?
Oh, blonde and woods bang and buoy buoy. I don't know. He's using all these expressions and legs for days, and so which is not her.
No, not especially in that original getup.
Yeah, so we're gonna miss it. Yeah, and she's looked like she's doing I was reading online Scarface level blow like on her nose. When they she just stuck her head in it or whatever.
She couldn't even wipe it off. It was so thick.
Right. So yeah, so they kind of have a meet cute or initial meet, the two of them, and I kind of thought of Roadhouse as far as the two guys and the girl and who has the chemistry. I there's like a little bit of that for me, even though it's Kevin Bacon, even though Fred Ward is pushing him to be with her or to make a move or something like that. There's still a little bit of Roadhouse kind of weirdness going on there, but yeah. So they meet her in the desert, and they that's kind of where it kicks off.
And Lloyd, what is their deal? Do they want to stick around, or what are they looking to do?
No, they are looking to blow town, go to Bixby.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to go to Bixby? Come on,
I spent last weekend in Bixby.
Yeah, it's like one town over.
Yeah.
Let's get out of this town. Let's go one town over.
There's 29 people there.
Yeah, they got a traffic light.
Yeah, so I guess as they're leaving, they find is that when they find the dead guy, the head in the ground?
First they find the guy up in the tower.
Oh, that's right. That's where they find. Yeah.
So they find like an old kind of like old cooter that lives in town is up on I don't know. It wasn't a cell phone tower. I don't know.
Electrical tower
of some sort. They try to get him down. Val goes up and realizes he got weighted out. He's been up there dehydrated and
he got weighted out.
He dehydrated and starved because he wouldn't come down from the tower. Now, why does he want to come down from the tower? Now, Rhonda had mentioned that she was there because the college sent her because there had been some seismic activity happening in Perfection. We also get a couple more weird things happening. At one point, as Val and Earl are heading back into town, we see that there's a couple of road crew guys that are jackhammering and doing some road work. We also see that there is a couple older people that seem to be building their own house on a piece of land. One of them, by the way, if you're a sci-fi fan, is the wife is Bibi Besh, who played Carol Marcus in Star Trek II. She was the Kirk's baby's mama. But yeah, her and her husband are kind of like out and having a little picnic, talking about how they're going to be building their own house. We go back to town for a little bit and we meet all the characters in town. On top of the kind of just the camaraderie between Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward, which works through Val and Earl. Did you also like the fact that they seem to have their own like little very 90s kind of like theme music, like very kind of like, I don't know, like funny, like twangy guitar. Did you notice that every time they were doing something it played?
Like, I'm a huge fan of like that kind of twangy guitar. Like, it made me think of like Doc Hollywood, or maybe I'm imagining that Doc Hollywood had it, where they go into the small town and there's like a fun twangy. Yeah. I was trying to think of another one as well.
Maybe Dukes of Hazzard?
My cousin Vinny sort of had it, like when they're, so yeah. And I actually heard that, I think that was going to be the primary score to the movie, but then they brought in this other fellow to punch it up for the action scenes, and it's more of an orchestra kind of thing. So you get a mix of when they're kind of going around town and doing their kind of Earl and Val stuff. It's kind of the hokey, kind of fun, twangy stuff. But then, yeah, the action scenes, I guess it's more of an orchestra or a bigger sound. So
Manster, they decide they're going to end up leaving town, but we see it as the audience but the two guys that are working on the road end up jackhammering into something that bleeds fucking
spurts a lot of blood.
Peach fucking jam or some shit, it looks like. And these guys end up getting attacked. As Val and Earl are trying to leave, the road has been totally blocked off.
Yeah.
Completely blocked off. What happens as they try to leave themselves? What happens to the truck?
So yeah, they're in a rocks, I guess that thing with the construction workers caused a rock slide to block the road. And they're trying to get out. And at this point, don't they think there's a serial killer?
Yeah, because
it's been a little subplot that just really goes away as soon as they find the graboids. But as they're blocked and he does a little K turn, a funny little bit where Earl is saying, you don't know how to turn, you're stuck. He's like, I'm not stuck. But what happened was the graboid, which we didn't see, got up and just latched onto the axle. And they were eventually able to get out of there. I guess they ripped that particular head off and dragged it back with them into town.
They get back to town. Somewhere along this whole time, too, they also find the wife and husband with the house in a very kind of cool sequence. They can't find them anywhere, but they see light coming out of the ground. And the reason they can't find them is because their station wagon got pulled underground and the headlights are pointing up. So they know something crazy is going on.
Which is a pretty iconic scene for this movie, would you say?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Originally, when they were just starting this movie, they had to cut a lot of things that they had written, and that was one of them. But as it progressed and they, executives got the dailies and everything, they asked if they could put it in. They're like, yeah, go ahead. So that scene was originally cut, but then added in later.
So they get back, Eric, and they realize when they look at the axle that one of these like tongues, these heads, these multiple heads that's in these graboids' mouth is wrapped around. Now, what is Walter, the store owner, what does he want to do with it immediately?
So he wants to open the first graboid museum, in the perfection. So they haggle over the, purchasing the head tongue thing for the store. For the tourist attraction, or I guess, or whatever. So
how many people roll through this town, Lloyd? Like ever?
Like 5 in like 5 years.
Yeah, one a year. And it's a wrong.
And what was the final price they agreed on? It was like $15.
Yeah.
So and the kid took a picture, right? So I don't know if the kid was got a skeevy. I don't know if he paid, but you make your money back after a year or so, I guess.
Yeah,
eventually. Now, Lloyd, where does it turn when we learn that these graboids exist? Do they go out again to town, and that's when they have the run-in with Rhonda, where they're on the rocks and all of that stuff? That's before it comes back to town, right?
Yeah, and then they do the pole vaulting type thing.
Yes, yeah. They go out into the desert, they run into Rhonda again, and as they're talking to her, it breaches ground.
Yeah, and she tells them, I think there's 3 others, right?
Yeah. So they think there's a total of 4 of these gigantic sandworms. No Paul Atreides. Don't make your own Dune joke later. We get a battle, kind of a chase between one of them and our 3 heroes, and they eventually learn that if you stay on solid rock, they can't burrow into solid rock. They can't burrow into solid rock, but as I mentioned before, they'll wait you the fuck out. There's one point where they're on a rock like overnight, and they test the ground. They throw a rock onto the ground to see if it's there.
Immediately, it's not even.
It's so immediate. The rock just like barely touches the sand, and the thing comes out of the ground. So you're not going to get away from these things. And as Lloyd mentioned, the pole vaulting. This is how they get back to her truck, Lloyd. Right? They pole vault from one rock formation to another.
Right, and they haven't seen it yet at this point, right?
They saw it when they threw the rock, but just like it just popped up a little bit.
Well, all right, and then it chases them and it ends up coming out the aqueduct, and
it's slammed.
Kill that one.
They managed to jump into a ditch. There is a concrete aqueduct, and they hear it. You see it kind of crack through. More of that fucking like delicious
orange,
like I don't know, like slushy Tropicana blood shooting out everywhere. Yeah. And Val,
exactly it
is. Val gets up. It would look good on toast, I think. Val gets up. He digs out like the rest of the body. And Eric, how long are these things approximately?
I'm horrible with measuring anything. I don't know, anywhere from 100 feet, 200 feet, maybe.
No, I don't think they're that big.
I would say like maybe 60 feet.
60. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
maybe
buy that.
maybe. Look at Lloyd's an engineer. He's figuring it out.
Yeah, I'm figuring out. Well, they made a full life scale, full size one. So damn, 200 feet. That'd be a little bit much to make.
One of them's down. They head back into town and they let everybody know, this is what's happening. These things coming through the ground. But of course, this town, even though there's only 14 people there, the ability to have vibration in this town is amazing. You've got the young girl who hops around. Why? Here's a question. We know there's an inherent danger in this town. We know this, right? Like, they don't know that it's giant sandworms yet, but something killed 2 dudes out by the road. Something buried an older couple in their station wagon. Something made old man Haggerty climb the fucking thing till he died. What? And there's 14 people at most, which I don't even think there's 14. I think 14 is the amount they say, but there's maybe like 7, 8, or 9. Why is the mother letting Mindy pogo down the road out of sight? Is it because she's a fucking whore and a terrible mother? That's all I can think of is you're a whore and a terrible fucking mother.
Yeah, it's just for the plot, apparently.
So Mindy's pogoing, which is going to attract fucking these things. And then what else? We saw it earlier. There was a little foreshadowing. What's in the grocery store, Eric, that's going to eventually attract these things?
Oh, is that the soda machine? The rattling Pepsi machine? Yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't think, I get it. I get you're not used to this kind of thing, but they know that these things are attracted by movement, but nobody unplugs the vibrating soda machine. Nobody tells Mindy not to use the only toy on Earth. Only thing that it's good for is to summon fucking ground worms, The town gets attacked. And in the attack, buildings start getting messed up. Walter Chang, the kindly store owner, gets fucking pulled underground and killed by these things. Manster, what is their only hope to staying alive?
Sucked right in. Yeah, they all get as high as they can. They're getting on the roofs, and they're all split. It's so funny how one dude's in an outhouse, the girl's on a water tower. They're on the store. The other people are in their houses.
Right.
But yeah, they figure they got to go up high, so they don't feel the vibrations. But these are like really super sensitive worms. They could feel anything.
Yeah. Bert and Heather Gummer, the preppers, Eric, where are they?
They're in their prep basement, a wee yonder away from the store in the center of town there. The
elephant gun that Michael Gross uses in this movie is a real elephant gun, and it was lent to the production by like a friend of the production. Like, apparently, I don't know, does that mean elephant guns are hard to find? I guess so. With the express, they had to rent it, and he had to be careful with it.
Yeah.
I'll be totally honest with you.
They made special rounds for it.
Yeah. I'll be totally honest with you. I thought elephant guns were a cartoon only thing. I knew there was one in this movie, and I remembered that from seeing this movie in the past, but I don't know, fuck. So they're in their basement, which is, where you don't want to be when there's underground worms.
You don't want to be subterranean.
They're communicating with Val and Earl via radio or phone, I think. And in a pretty exciting action set piece, one of the worms breaks through the basement wall of Bert and Heather. But what do they have on the wall that makes this kind of like a shitty day to be a graboid, Manster?
They have an arsenal down there, like a literal massive arsenal. And they just blow the shit out of this thing, this mother humper.
This mother humper gets an Uzi. This mother humper gets a fucking elephant gun. They just fucking take care of business on this fucking thing. Kind of another iconic scene, I think, is this thing hanging out of the wall.
Yeah.
Right? And they're just fucking blasting them. Reba McEntire.
That was a hand puppet, that one.
Was it really?
Yeah, that was a little one.
Okay.
Looks so real, though.
Reba McEntire's like, get me some gunpowder to reload my gun. So they take care of this one. So there's 2 left now.
What's that? You remember that awesome line that Michael Gross says?
I do know he has one. I don't remember what it is. What is it?
I think that was the mother. you picked the wrong goddamn basement, you mother humper, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, he definitely says something along those lines. Yeah. So they take care of that one. Meanwhile, back in town, I think the third one starts attacking. Jesus, Eric, refresh me. What happens at this point?
Hard to keep track.
Don't they have to cause a distraction so that Val can get? Is it to get the cat? Is that the point?
Yes.
So they a little buggy or whatever they send off to kind of get the worm going after that, while he runs and gets the cat, which is a big bulldozer or something.
Yeah.
Big, yeah.
He goes to get the cat so that they could drag everybody out to the Sierra Nevadas, because they know that once they get into a mountain range, these things can't follow them through the mountain range.
At 2 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Right. So I have a question. Why do they think this thing can't uproot the cat and the trailer that it's dragging behind?
Well, the trailer's a question, but they actually say that in the movie. They mentioned the cat, and they're like, nothing can move that damn thing. It's like a throwaway line. It's a throwaway line. It's not logical. It's just the writers having Fred Ward tell you that a graboid can't knock over this fucking bulldozer.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's
and
what
you're
I
supposed to fucking believe it. That's it. Eric, did you feel safe when Fred Ward said that?
Oh yeah, I thought the movie was over. Actually, I was like, all right, we're wrapping this up.
Yeah. So Val runs out, and he gets the cat, brings it back into town. They hook it up to the trailer, the flatbed. They were originally going to bring the Gummer's vehicle, but Manster, what happened to that?
I don't remember.
It just one of the worms fucks it up.
Did he suck it underground?
It blows all the tires out, breaks the axle,
Right.
like as if it knows. So so this is the point where everybody jumps on the cat, right? And they're gonna now take the fight out into the mountains. They also at this point introduce the extreme prepper weaponry of fucking explosives. Bert starts putting together like a bunch of fucking is it not Molotov cocktails,
like shrapnel bombs.
Shrapnel bombs, yeah. And as they're going out, their plan is to keep the worms away using the shrapnel bombs. But where does everything go wrong, Eric?
Does the trailer get capsized, or does the bomb go astray and land? I got confused.
I think the bomb goes astray.
Because I know at one point the bomb gets tossed in the air and lands on the pile of other bombs, these big Bugs Bunny TNT bombs or whatever, and then they all blow up. So they lose all their bombs. And
those don't the graboids thwart their plan by tunneling a big hole and making them get off that cat?
That's right. And they end up on the rocks, and that's
That's right. That's
they
right.
Capsize that trailer, but So like they're learning. Like we got some learning graboids, kind of like
these things are
stuff
so
out.
smart.
Yeah. So they as Master said, they dig a trench that the cat falls into, fucks everything up. They end up on the rocks, and while they're on the rocks, that's when the rest of the explosives get blown up in a little bit of as Eric said, Looney Tunes moment. So now they're all there on the rocks. How do they? Full disclosure, we watched this movie a week ago and had to push back, and I did not rewatch the ending of this. How do we end up from the rocks to the idea that we're going to start running and trying to trick them? We still have two left, right? Is that right? Or do we lose one of them through a bomb?
There's only one left when Val starts to run, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I think.
All right.
Stumpy is the nemesis or whatever is the last graboid.
The last one with the missing tongue.
Yeah.
So remember, there was that fourth one. We're just going to pretend he just died. You know what? He had a heart attack.
That's right.
Around the time that everybody was on the roof, his left arm started to hurt really bad. And like Jonathan Kent in Superman, he went, oh no, it was his cholesterol. He shouldn't have ate that last Chevy Suburban. So there's one left. Manster, they decide that they're going to try to outrun this thing, right? They go up. So what happens here at this point?
So in a pretty good scene, they're running and he's going right after Kevin Bacon, but Kevin Bacon outsmarts him. What does he do while he's running? He like throws a bomb back, and Earl's like, "Oh no, you missed it! You threw it too far." But I took it that the bomb accelerated,
scared it. Graboid. Either accelerated it or scared it to the point where it ran from it.
Right, and so what you don't really see till after is Kevin Bacon goes and he's standing there. He's just, you think, at least I thought, well, he's just going to jump over this thing, I guess, because it looks like he was just getting ready to jump. And he takes a dive, and the graboid goes right through, and right behind him is a cliff. And he just goes straight through the wall of the cliff, which is just dirt, no rock there apparently, and just goes right down. And a great scene. It falls, and you could feel the weight of the thing, and all that orange pus comes out.
Was that the same cliff that they were on in the beginning of the movie? Didn't the movie start with them?
Yeah.
I think the movie starts with them on a cliff when they're like, when he's pissing and they're talking about who made breakfast.
I saw on a YouTube kind of like recap of the movie that in the beginning of the movie where Earl is sleeping in the truck and Val wakes him up, and Earl kind of is in a sleeping bag and kind of falls out of the truck, and it kind of mimics it looks the same as when the worm goes through the side. The sleeping bag kind of looks like a worm. I don't know. It's cool. A cool little callback there. So good writing, I think. Yeah.
All right. So the worm's dead. The town has been saved. These guys are local heroes. How do we end this thing off, Eric?
Let's see. They're going to leave, right? Now they're really going to leave? Is that what happened?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, Val and Earl are really leaving for good this time until I guess part 2 or whatever happens. But
yeah, there's one other important thing that happens.
Oh, the kiss?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he finally, after some more prodding from Earl, and I guess I read that there was a screening without the kiss, and the audience didn't go for it, so they shot it later. And you can kind of tell, like right at the end, that it's not. There's a little not a continuity problem, but you can kind of tell it was kind of added in after when they kind of embrace and kiss.
I don't remember. Does he say to her like, "Even though you're not a hot blonde, I'll still fuck you"? There's only 14.
Certainly thinking it.
There's only 14 people in this town, and the only 2 women are a 14-year-old girl and her stupid mother. So that is 1990s Tremors. Hey, I want to throw this out there, by the way. Our good buddy Spielberg Wally, who supports us greatly and is always at all the Connecticut Cult Classic shows. Just a great dude, good friend. He loves this movie, and he is not a pint insider, which I'm going to yell at him about next time I see him, because he supports the fuck out of us, except for in our direct way to support us, but we still love him. And this episode's dedicated to you, Brian, because you're a big Tremors fan, and I told you I was going to do something for you. And with Brian, the options, the 2 easy options were Tremors or Buckaroo Banzai, and I'm not a huge Buckaroo Banzai. Maybe we'll do that someday, Brian. But
and we already did Howard the Duck. So
yeah, and we did do Howard the Duck. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, Brian. A little quick story about this movie before we talk about the rest of the stuff is the night I went to go watch this. I was like, I know, I'm pretty sure I own this on Blu-ray. And I went into my Blu-ray room, and the room I have my Blu-rays in, and I looked and I didn't have it. I know Arrow did a pretty big edition a couple years ago, and I didn't have it. And I didn't have it on a regular Blu-ray. And I went into the room where I have my DVDs, and I looked and I didn't see it. So I just said, fuck it. And I had to rent it. It was like $4.79 on Amazon or something. No big deal. $4.79 is nothing to do a show. And then, we watched it. We were going to do it. Had to postpone. And then the other day I was doing laundry, and I was wiping down my DVDs, like cleaning them up, and I found my Tremors fucking DVD. So fuck me in $4.79.
I actually watched it, like you said, 2 weeks ago on YouTube TV. It was available. It was in my library, so I watched it there. I went to rewatch it before because we delayed, and I was gone. So,
Eric, you? What about you?
What did I? Oh yeah, so 123 Movies is kind of like a website to watch some stuff or whatever. And I like you, I probably should have contributed to the Michael Gross retirement fund, but kind of did that little side alley viewing.
Eric decided to prove that the internet provides. All right, let's talk about the box office.
So I'm talking about fractions of a penny here, and over time, they add up to a lot.
Yeah, so Tremors opened January 19th, 1990, ranked 5th for the week. That week it made $3,700,000. For the next 3 weeks, there was a steady decline until there was like 2 or 3 people in the theater watching it. Overall, it made a little over $16.5 million for its domestic run.
Something I wanted to bring up about Tremors is that Kevin Bacon, I saw him on something recently, and he brought up the fact that like when he was making this movie, he was at a low point in his life. He was about to have his first kid. He was in New York City on the streets with his wife walking somewhere. Money was running out. It was just, things weren't going great for him. And he said he remembers like freaking out saying, I can't believe I'm making a fucking movie about fucking underground worms. Like my career has become an embarrassment. And he said as time progressed and as, like life changes, he said whenever he does a movie, he typically watches it one time. He says the only movie that he has watched dozens of times is Tremors. So I think that's interesting because, he did not come back for the sequel. He did not, but he did come back for the TV show. And that, obviously there's money involved there too, but that also says that maybe he was like willing to kind of accept that as part of his past, but he says he watches it whenever it's on. So
yeah, this is one of the first kind of like VHS home video success stories, where you had kind of a flop in the theater and, he's standing on a ledge somewhere or on the edge of a cliff, thinking, oh, I made another flop. And yeah, just through home video. I mean, you wonder why something has like 15 sequels and 3 series or whatever, if it only made, a couple shekels, but it was really the home video market. It was like a huge success.
Let's rate this thing.
And a guy who spent 6 weeks in the bathroom got a 91.
0 being the worst thing ever and 5 being the best thing ever. Quarter and half scale optional. I'm going to let Manster go first so he learns not to give everything a 5.
Easy, right. Big fella.
Easy.
All right, here's my rating. 0.0.
No. You have no point average. All classes incomplete.
Actually, no, I'm going to grade it a little higher than that. Hey, some people love this. I don't know if anybody really hates this. I think it's just a highly enjoyable monster movie. I know they were trying to tread the line of horror comedy. I think they did a good job. They found the right tone. Lot of great practical effects. I mean, this thing is really fun to watch. The characters are mostly likable. I wouldn't say every character, but overall, I think they're fun characters. The action is fun. And it's good. It's a good campy. It's kind of like a well executed 50s B movie.
Yeah,
just updated for the 90s. High energy, family friendly. One other thing we didn't really mention, but one other thing that I appreciate is a lot of movies these days, of course, this is 34 years ago, they're dark. So many movies are so dark and I can't stand it. A lot of times you can't see stuff, but you see everything in this movie. There's nothing hidden by darkness or, being shady or anything like that. So I appreciate that. It's fun. I'm going to give it a 3.75. out of 5.
They call him the hot coffee lawsuit.
Yeah, baby.
What do you got?
So I'll piggyback like right what Lloyd said. For me, it's like quote unquote comedy in some sense, although it's not really jokey in the dialogue. It's more like the situations, and the way the camera is used in some part, like when it kind of pans over and you see the wall of guns, that's like a cool camera thing, in the basement. And so the tone is really good. And I like the fact that nobody's like horror movie stupid in it. Like they're really trying to problem solve this ridiculous like worm situation. Oh, let's try this. Oh, this isn't going to work. Or no, we can't actually take the truck because yada yada. And they kind of work through it. You see kind of smartish people, or just regular folks just trying to work a way through a crazy situation. So I think it's really well written. And like Lloyd said, the effects are awesome. I love this movie, but I'll give it a 3.75 as well.
All right, I'm going to go a little bit lower. I do enjoy this movie. I think it's well made. I think it toes the line between, B movie, horror kind of fun. And also like the comedy aspects of it are really good. Fred Ward and Kevin Bacon, rock together. They're really good. And in like a completely gay way, Fred Ward could be a daddy to me. If I was a young gay guy, Fred Ward could be my daddy. He's I don't know. He's got that salt of the earth thing going on in this. And I don't know. I like it. Yeah, you see it. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's the effects are great. It's just a whole lot of fun. But I also do think it's lightweight. And like for me, when I think of a movie of this ilk, kind of this like horror B movie, 50s throwback comedy type thing, and not to give away, a movie we're going to do in the future, but like Arachnophobia is the one that I think of like more. I love that movie. And that one kind of like nails the tone even more for me. So it's not, and I'm not directly comparing the two necessarily. I'm just saying that I think there are better versions of this type of movie. Because this movie has like a pretty rabid fan base. People love this fucking movie. I like it a lot. I have a good time with it. I don't go back to it a whole ton. Good cast, good FX, just a fun time. I'm going to go 3.25. I'm going to go with a 325. Completely rewatchable. I will check this out again. I apparently own the fucking DVD. So that's good news. So that's us talking about 1990s Tremors. Before Manster tells you where you can find us, I want to reiterate because it's coming up very, very soon. And Stu, if you're listening to this, you got to tell us what we're doing. Because on May 31st at 8 p.m., the Manster, myself, and Scary Larry are joining Stu on live stream for The Cure number 8, which is a wonderful live stream that takes place over the course of 3 days, Wednesday through Saturday, I believe. All kinds of podcasters and content creators, people like So Wizard, people like the Contrarians, just people that we've been friends with, and a whole ton more get together and raise money for the Cancer Research Institute, which is near and dear to all of our hearts. So on May 31st, Friday night, 8 p.m., we're going to go live. We would love for you to drop in, laugh, joke, listen to whatever games we're going to play or whatever fun we're going to have. That Stu picks. Remember, it's under SWO Productions featuring The Pint. So if you're looking for The Pint, it's going to be under SWO. But please join us. Please get your pocketbook, your wallet, do you keep money in your bra? Is it in your sock? Are you one of those fucking people? I don't care.
Slice open the mattress.
Yeah, is it in the mattress? Slice it open, do what you got to do. But come and drop a couple shekels with The Pint and Stu on May 31st. That would be great.
Yeah, and I think as of this recording, the link is live to donate now, so you don't have to wait necessarily.
It is up on our page, and you can go to livestreamforthecure.com, I believe, and also drop in there. Manster, where can they find us?
All your podcatchers. I don't know if all these podcatchers are around anymore. I used to name them, but they come and go. So find the one you like, stick with it. Facebook and YouTube, it's at The Pint: a pop culture podcast. On Instagram and Threads, I believe it is at The Pint Podcast. And of course, we'd love you to become a Pint Insider at www.patreon.com/The Pint. See ya, mother humpers.
Fuck you.
It's over, Johnny. It's over. Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.